Get this call started. All right. Happy Momentum Monday. Today's topic is literally perfect because it is exactly what I am living right now. And it is all about building a business with kids. If you notice, I've got wet hair. I'm actually pumping right now. And I've got a small child right next to me on something we don't normally do, which is a device. But it's because I don't have any childcare today. And so I just really want to give you moms out there some tips on how to do this in the craziness that is being a mom. And so maybe you are a mom now and this will totally land with you. Maybe you would like to be a mom and you are like, hey, I want to know what the reality is of this. I know we have a lot of women who have been building isogenics businesses and who have had children on the journey of building their business. Or maybe you're not and you have no desire to be, but you are working with women that are in those other two categories. So I just want to give some tips and some kind of real life about how this can be done and why I feel like it is so important. So first, let's talk about a little bit about vision and understanding vision and sacrifice. So what is the vision? Why would you even want to build a business? I mean, definitely we can talk about money, having some more financial abundance, having a little bit more financial choice for things like having a date night out because it's expensive, or, never having to say no if your child wants to take a class like swim lessons or gym. I mean, it's crazy. Those are $20, $25 for an hour and you still have to be there. Or maybe it's, that vacation. Maybe it's being able to pay for Christmas without putting it on a credit card and then trying to figure out how to pay it off. So finances are a huge reason. Or maybe it's just like, hey, I want to be able to start saving for my kids' college fund now. So there's so many reasons. Or it could be you're working and you want to be at home. That was my initial why when I started Isogenics, is that, well, when I started sharing Isogenics and building an income stream, is I knew that in my corporate job, working 70 hours a week and being in hotels 2 to 3 nights a week, that I was not going to be able to be the mom that I really envisioned being. And there's no judgment here. This could be anything. Like maybe you want to, there are days that I'm like, wow, working from out of the house on a job that is a guarantee sounds pretty fun, but still building a side business because you want to have more impact. Maybe your job pays well, but you don't feel like you have the impact. So it may not be about money. It may be about building community or creating change in people's lives. There's so many reasons, but I really encourage you to get really clear on your vision of why is this important, because it will initially take time away from your family. If you're doing it as a side hustle, it's going to take time away. If you are doing it as something like an add-on to maybe you're a full-time mom, which is a really hard job, this is something that will take time away. And I see so many people that are saying, I don't have the time. And I'm like, girl, that is exactly the reason you need to be doing this. And it's hard to understand that when you don't have the time of taking more time to build this, but what you're building is an asset that will give you more time later. And what that meant for me, again, without kids in the beginning, but I'm going to give you some tips for those of you that already have kids, is that meant that I gave up nights. I gave up like watching TV. I sometimes gave up like boozy weekends, instead of going out to that boozy brunch for 3 hours, I sat in my office and I worked my business. So it meant giving up some things in the short run to have more choice in the long run. So I think when you're clear on that, it makes sense. Where it's hard is if you have this idea that you should, like, you want the time now, so you're going to have, or you want the time, so you're going to have it now. So understand that you need to have that vision of why are you doing this? Are you doing it for more choice? Are you doing it for more time? Are you doing it for more impact? And then also, what is the message that you're sending to your children? I see a lot of people out there that tell their kids what they can do. But for me, I know it's showing them. And that's one thing I've seen across Isogenics is like showing my children that they're part of what I do, bringing them to conferences or showing them the impact that I have, or just showing them that things are possible. And if I say I'm going to go for a goal, that I can do it, not just that they can do something, that I can show them that I can do something. So number 2, communication. This is so important. One, I think having a group of supportive people around you, that community, like elevate. And this is it, right? Is having other people that are going through what you're going through, that you can set goals with, that you can get ideas from in life. One of the things I love most about this community is not just that we talk about isogenics, obviously we do, but also that it's a commonality. It's a connecting point for life. Next. Okay. So let's talk about like, when do you build your business? Before we get into scheduling and what it looks like, is the idea that you've got to release perfectionism. I mean, I'm on this call today with basically no makeup on. I have wet hair. My child, we don't do screens at home like 99% of the time. But I don't have childcare today. And I'm just lucky the baby's asleep. So I've got him on a screen, and that is not the perfect scenario, but it is okay because we have to release perfection in order to create what we want. And so that is really important, that we can't always have it all together. Like, I'm the snack mom today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only have 2 carrots per kid because the second bag didn't arrive. It's okay. It is all right. Nobody's gonna die. But releasing that perfection of what does our business look like. And I want to tell everyone, like, yes, the first year of my being a mom and building my business was a hot mess. And then I got help, and that's maybe something that you want at some point. That's a reason to build in itself, is just to have help at home. So release that idea of perfection, that you're going to always look perfect, your kids are going to be perfect, and it's just going to go perfectly, and be okay being messy as you create an empire and a legacy for your family. Number 3. Okay. Actually, is that 3 or 4? Doesn't really matter, does it? Next tip is, let's talk about pockets of time. All right. The idea that you're going to be able to sit down and work your business for 4 hours is probably never going to happen. So look at it in 15-minute blocks. Now, you may not be able to do a phone call in 15 minutes. And so maybe that's the time that you really reserve, when you actually can get a block of time. But 15 minutes, you can do so many things. And I highly encourage everyone to print out the daily action scoreboard. I'll put the link in, because almost all of the activities in Isagenix can be done in 5, 10, and 15 minutes. In 5 minutes, you could text 15 people. In 5 minutes, you could follow up with at least 5 people with a voice memo. In 5 minutes, you could do a quick unboxing call for a customer. In 15 minutes, you should be able to do those things times 3, right? So we don't need big pockets of time if we're really, really focused. So where do those 15 minutes come from? Listen, like, there's days that I'll tell you what I do, and you figure it out what works for you. Is if my kiddo's in the bathtub, obviously I'm in there with him supervising, and he's playing, I'll take 10 minutes and I'll send some texts, or I'll do some follow-up, or whatever it is in that 10 minutes that I've got to do. I will do what I call high touch play. I used to get really frustrated because I was like, I need to get something done. And yes, I don't want to be on the screen all the time in front of my kid, but if that's the only time of the day, I do high touch play with him, which is like wrestling, going outside, riding bikes, something that's very physical, where after he gets that one-on-one connection and that physicality, then we can go in his room and he'll play with blocks, and I'll sit there and I'll spend 5 minutes, and again, text or whatever it is. And then I'll sit down and play with him for 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll take another 5 minutes. So he's never feeling ignored, but I'm taking advantage of those small blocks. And as they get older, it's easier. Like, at 3.5 is very different even than 2.5. Nap time, or quiet time if your kids don't take a nap. Nap time is so important. And I know, especially as women, it is so easy to say, like, oh my gosh, I have an hour or 2 hours. We never know exactly, right? But I'm just going to put in a load of laundry, and I'm just going to do 1 load of dishes. And, and all of a sudden, like, they're waking up and the house is cleaner, but you've done nothing on your business. And what is really moving you forward? I mean, yes, we all love to have a clean house, but it's not really moving you forward in life. It's not giving you more choice. It's not giving you more freedom, or any of the things that you really desire. So I encourage you at nap time to be like, sit your buttons in a chair and do those 3 or 4 things. Like, take advantage. Absolutely, businesses have been built in an hour to 2 a day. Now, are you going to build a 6-figure business in 1 year, an hour a day? No. But what you could do is, if you had 1 hour a day and you were really, really focused, you could probably create a couple of $100s a week, which could then translate into hiring someone to clean your house. So that's another couple hours that you get back, or hiring childcare. And I used to really struggle with this. I was like, why would I make more money to then pay someone to watch my kids? Moms, I think everyone needs a little time, whether you're spending on your Isagenix business or you're spending on a date night. Everyone needs a little bit more time. The other thing is, what can you do to get the kids in bed? And if you need a sleep expert, I have the best one. She's actually part of our Isagenix community. But I actually gave up nap time for my kiddo. So, because he used to take a nap and I'd get an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, which I often found that I was doing household stuff. against my own advice. But then I was fighting him from 7 to 9 to stay in bed, to get in bed. It was this like really exhausting routine. And at 9 o'clock, the last thing I wanted to do was work my business because I was fried. So we started putting him down with no nap at 6. He's asleep by 6:15, 6:20. And I have time where I am still energized because it's not a struggle and I can do 2 hours of work. So just giving you some different ideas. The other is if you do have someone that comes to clean your house that you trust, and you have a kiddo that naps, and you trust that person that's cleaning your house to like text you when the kid wakes up, you just get out of the house. Even if you literally just get in your car and you make a hotspot with your phone, like go somewhere that there is no household distractions. You're not cleaning in front of the lady that cleans your house. You're not going to go grocery shopping. You're not going to do any of those things. All right. Spend that hour to 2 hours and just like work on your business. You'll be amazed how much you get done. I literally, we're building a house and it's under construction. It's like not finished. There are days that I go down there and I sit in my unfinished bedroom. Like there's no sheetrock or anything. And I work because I know that's the only thing I can do there. There's nothing else to do, or the library. So just some ideas of how you can like really use those little blocks of time, but getting out of the house is so important. A couple other things like the YMCA. So today I'm at my son's school with them. We go to a co-op. So I am there in the classroom 1 day a week. And then after that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have calls. I have 2 hours of calls. I didn't realize I wouldn't have childcare today. So we're going to go to the YMCA. If you have a YMCA in your area, they're an incredible resource. They're like $100 to $140 a month for the family, and you can do classes and swim and all those things. But the most valuable thing, 2 hours a day of free childcare. Think about that. If you use that 3 days a week, 2 hours, that's 24 hours. You'd be paying about $4 an hour. And there you have great childcare and you sit right there in the lobby. So if anything happens, you're right there and you can get work done. So the YMCA is like a huge, wonderful thing. And then there's also female co-work spaces in some towns that offer childcare. They might be a little bit more expensive, but they're designated workplaces. And you guys, we have to, as moms, like there's so many things we have to release, but one of them is that our kids are not gonna be okay if we're not with them. Like my son's like, Mom, I want to go to the kids club. He loves it because there's all these toys that we don't have at home. So he absolutely loves it. So let's just kind of recap. Vision, communication, getting accountability. Let's talk about communication with your significant other or asking for help. So often we're telling our spouse, we're complaining, or significant other, I don't have time to build my business. I don't have time to build my business. We're complaining, but we're not really asking for something. So we should be saying, hey, honey, I have a really big goal. Enroll them in your vision. My goal is to bring in an extra $500 a month. And then we can have a date night. And then we can get a house cleaner. And then we can pay for an extra class and we can put $100 away a month or whatever that is. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can magnify it. But enroll them in your vision. Tell them why it's important to you. Tell them it's important because it gives you something for yourself as a woman or as a human being, because the way that you are able to create change fulfills you and makes you a better mom and wife and human being. Like explain to them why it's important and then ask them for help. And the help could be, hey, when the kids are in bed at 7 o'clock or whatever time, I'm going to go to the public library for 2 hours. Do you have 7 to 9? They're going to want to do it. We as women often have this feeling that because no one does it as well as we do, that no one else can do it. And we become martyrs and nobody is served by that. So enroll your significant other, your partner in that vision. The other thing is other moms. If you have another mom, maybe she's in an isogenics business. Maybe she's in another network marketing company. Maybe she just wants to grocery shop. But say, hey, let's take Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. On Tuesdays, I'll watch your kids and you'll have 2 hours. And on Thursdays, you watch my kids with yours and I'll have 2 hours. So where can you trade time that your kids are going to be so happy to play with other kids? So we talked about nap time or quiet time. We talked about these little pockets in the car, and I don't mean when driving, but maybe you go to do pickup and you get there a few minutes early. You got the baby in the back asleep or whatever the situation is, and you sit parked and return text. I feel like I probably worked my business more in a stopped car or when my spouse is driving than ever. But those are just some ideas. It does not have to look perfect. You can literally create a play date that's a launch party. I know Kelly Dickerhoff, who's one of the top income earners, did that for her business. But it is so possible. And if you actually look at some of the most successful people in isogenics and network marketing as a whole, it is moms. who never use their kids as an excuse, that use them as their why. So I encourage you, if you have any other tips, please drop them below of what works for you. The other thing I didn't even mention is the relationships and the events. Like, for moms to be able to get away and go to an event, which is to pour into their business and pour into themselves, like, it is so much fun. And there's so many moms I know that I'm like, network marketing, they should join network marketing, not even for the money, just for the community of being able to do something for them. You are worth it. Your kids are worth it. Your visions are worth it. And if you have any questions, I am here to support you, because this is the reason that I do this. And the other day I said, like, it's not just about creating options for my children, it's about making them proud. And I want them to know the legacy that has been created for them because of them. And I know that your kids deserve that as well.